Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the library trustees will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town members website at townofberlin.com. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen to the meeting may do so in the following manner: zoom.com. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website an audio recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting on the town's webpage. Does that keep going for this meeting, members of the public?
Lynette,
What?
I'm not sure that's the one that's actually called the remote meeting script. Actually, it says introduction.
Oh, hold on, yeah.
So this would be the Tuesday,
This
July.
one. Yep.
Yeah,
Sorry. I'm
no problem.
off my phone. It's very small and I don't have my glasses. Couldn't preview file. Hold on, I'm trying to see if it, there we go, okay. This is the Tuesday, July 14th, 2020 meeting of the Berlin Library Trustees. As a preliminary matter, please note the meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, be aware other folks may be able to see you. Take care not to screen share your computer. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. This is Lynette Wheeler, Library Trustee Clerk. Permit me to confirm all members of persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me prior to me calling the meeting to order. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Linda Yates.
Here.
Jean Mitchell.
Here.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Bob Hodge.
Here.
I'm going to call you an anticipated speaker on the agenda. Respond in the affirmative. Charlene DiCalagero.
Yes, here.
Okay. With a quorum of the trustees present, I call this meeting to order at 5:41, July 14th, 2020. All right. And then this whole other rest of it too. Do we want me to read the rest? Introduction to the remote meeting. That was the thing I just did, the Governor Baker's executive order.
I think you covered that.
I think I covered that. Ground rules.
Oh, there you go. I would start there.
We're now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will invite each board member by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Trustees and speakers on the agenda, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until I yield the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in conversation with each other, please do so through me, taking care to identify yourself. Public comment portion of the agenda. To the extent that our technical capability allows, public comment will be permitted during the public comment portion of this meeting as follows. Attendees' phones and other devices will be muted unless they raise their hand and are recognized by me to speak. I ask each member of the public who wishes to speak to identify their name, and I will afford each speaker time to ask a question or make a brief comment. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Whew. All right, I guess Mary said the first thing we need to do is elect a new chair and elect a clerk. Mary mentioned right before you came on, Jean, that typically the new person on is the clerk, but that's not how it has to go. If you want to do the clerk or you want to do chair, I'm okay with sticking as clerk. I'm okay with being the chair. So I don't know how this goes.
I don't feel qualified to be the chair. I'm just learning. So
Yeah.
I don't think that would be a particularly good idea.
Do you want to maybe have Linda be the clerk and you be the chair, Lynette, or do you want to?
We can do that. We still have to vote though, right? So you have to nominate. I'll nominate Linda to be the clerk.
I second.
Okay. I'm gonna write, I'll keep minutes for this too. And
Thank
then
you.
can kind of see how it goes.
Right, thanks.
All right. So then roll call vote. It's just between me and Jean, right, Charlene?
Yep, correct.
So Lynette Wheeler, I vote in the affirmative for Linda Yates to be the new clerk. Jean Mitchell, how do you vote?
I also vote that Linda Yates be appointed the new clerk.
Linda votes as well.
And
All
Linda,
three of you.
okay. Linda Yates, how do you vote on becoming clerk?
I vote yes.
Okay. All right, and then I can't nominate myself to be
All
the
right.
chair. So someone else has to
Um,
nominate and then someone has to second.
I will nominate Lynette Wheeler to be chair. Jean
I se-
Mitchell.
I second it, Linda Yates.
All right, we vote Jean Mitchell. I vote in the affirmative for Lynette Wheeler to be the chair.
And Linda Yates votes yes as well.
And I, Lynette Wheeler, vote in favor to be chair. All right. And now we just move on through the rest.
Yep.
So we're going to the previous meetings minutes. I got a couple corrections from Charlene. Does anybody else see anything else on the minutes?
Did you receive the minutes, Linda?
I did.
Oh, okay, good.
I don't know as I would be able to vote on them though,
No,
because
you.
I wasn't
no,
at
you
the meeting.
can't.
Right, okay.
Do we still need to have 3 votes? How do we approve these minutes? Do you still have to approve them, Charlene, since you were at that meeting?
No, it's the
You're muted.
new
Charlene.
people.
Sorry. I don't have a vote.
Okay.
I gave feedback,
Right.
as you mentioned. So, but it'll be the two
Just
people
the
who
2 of us.
attended that meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. So Bob and Jean, you didn't see anything that warranted correction?
I did not.
No.
All right, then I will move to accept the minutes. Do we still say as amended?
Yes.
There's a few corrections.
Yep.
Typos. All right, so I will move to accept the minutes as amended.
I second that. Jean Mitchell.
And we still do a roll call vote.
Yep.
Lynette Wheeler approves. Jean Mitchell,
I also approve.
all right, approved unanimously. So going on to the director's report. Did you get that, Linda, too?
Yes, I did. Yep. Thank
So
you.
Okay.
Bob's just gonna give us a little summarization of it.
Yeah, I assume everyone had a chance to read it, and I'm just going to mention a few highlights. The library reopened to some extent. We're doing curbside service once again, and the staff are back on pretty close to normal schedule, except for Sarah, who is, it's a very difficult summer with summer reading normally being a very busy time. It's very hard for all the youth services librarians all throughout public library sphere. So we've been doing the curbside for 2 weeks. And we also started off asking patrons to only return Berlin items to the Dropbox and to only request Berlin items. But we kind of lifted that restriction now that we've gotten through a lot of the backlog. And so the staff have been really great in terms of coming up with procedures. Of course, the network had their own set of procedures that they recommended. Karen Kowal put together something more specific to our needs. And then we've been working through that. We have a procedure for retrieving the books from the book drop, cleaning them, quarantining them for 72 hours. We keep lists in buckets of all of these materials and the dates that they were brought in. So it's not as straightforward as normal library business, but this is the kind of the new world we're faced with. And I think people are, in general, just excited to have us back. And this curbside thing, I mean, a lot of our patrons have been one stop to pick up an item and out, except for maybe seeing their neighbor or something at the library. So I think it's a service we'll continue to order for quite some time into the future, even when we do reopen to some extent, doing, reopen by appointment, as some libraries have tentatively, started to try and do. So we'll be following that closely. The state aid for certification has just opened. I did attend the workshop on that, so there's going to be some changes this year in the way things are done. One major change is everything was done online before, but we had to print things out, have them signed, and mail them by a specific date. And that restriction is lifted, so now they can just be approved online. And I will talk more about this as we get the report. The first half of the report is deals with statistical information, most of which is provided by our network. But I can talk more about that as we get closer. That they've delayed it, instead of being due in August, now it's due in October. And then the financial end of it, which opens in August, will also be due in October for this year. So it's going to be interesting. They're basing everything on a 10-month year, since we were closed for 3 months, almost 3 months. So, excuse me, just up to March, so a 9-month year. Anyway, we're all a little apprehensive about how it's all going to work out. So we're just taking it step by step. The next big thing with the library building, the new septic system design was approved, and we had a lengthy town department head meeting this morning, and Margaret mentioned to me just privately that she is putting the process out to bid. And she does know of some bidders locally who may do some of the work at a good price, or so that's moving forward, I should say. The special articles we currently have out there, there was one for a new well, which that was the only one that I thought that possibly we might be returning to the town. But the town administrator also recommended that we keep that article until after the septic is finished, just in case.
Yep.
So the special articles we have, there is one that's for design and building of a library. That's a very old one, but they've allowed us to keep it open because we have done some planning with an architectural firm. So we've been using the money for those types of expenses. We have a couple of articles that are for general expenses. And one of the reasons we have that money as a capital expense is we don't want to include it in our appropriation because 20% of all of our appropriated money has to be spent on materials. So our budget is a little bit unlike other town departments. We have another item, $50,000 that we got from the mitigation funds. And we were going to use that, we were hopefully going to use that sooner than later to apply for a state grant for the building construction program. Right now, the state isn't funding that program to the extent that's needed. So we're hoping to hold on to that money until they do, because that's still somewhat the plan. So that's the special articles. Let's see. The Friends had an event. They were able to do the library garden tour, which is one of their major fundraisers. And this year they joined forces with 19 Carter, and it was very successful. In total, they raised $3,000, which they're going to split. So 1,500, I think, is about what they usually make, maybe a little more. I'm not certain. The Friends are going to try and have a meeting in August, actual in-person meeting, which they would try to do outside. Most of our Friends members that come to the regular meetings are not too interested in doing a Zoom call. So,
Yeah.
So we may be able to pull off a Zoom call with them, I think, at some point. Maybe we can convince them. But anyway, so we're hoping to have a meeting with the Friends in August, if that works out. Another thing I should mention, and I know we talked about this in the past, is the ADA, the town requested funds to have this group come in and do a survey of the town's buildings. And they actually, this morning before our town department head meeting, gave us a long, lengthy rundown of all of the condition of all the town buildings. I sent you something this morning. It wasn't the full report that I thought it was, but I do have it's a 95-page report. You can just skip to the library if you like. I think those of you who are trustees now, and probably you do too, Linda, since you're a regular patron, know that we have a lot of issues with our 1928 building that need to be addressed. And, you know, they gave us some kudos too for doing some things right, and that we are trying to make reasonable accommodation wherever we can. And, but still, in the long term, these things, need to be addressed, and we have to keep making as much progress as we can to get there. Sometimes it seems like a glacial pace, but if you're making some progress, then that's good. So that's about it. I'm trying to stay on top of what other communities are doing. I've had quite a few Zoom calls with other directors. We have one tomorrow for all the directors in CW Mars Network. There's actually a spreadsheet that has a status of each library and what they are doing in terms of the delivery service, and whether they're allowing their patrons to place holds throughout the system. One thing we found here in Berlin is that we have patrons from other communities, and they're requesting our material, even though we had not said that we were prepared to send them. So in any case, so we're working our way through. Does anyone have any questions about my report? Okay. Linda, I can explain some of these things to you if they're not making sense.
Okay.
In terms of the budgetary things and
Yeah, some of that I
the
don't understand.
library certification process is kind of convoluted, and there's a formula that they use, and but I think we can talk about that. And when you get your trustee training, which I hope you can attend one of the trustee trainings. And
Oh, yeah, I don't have any information on that yet, but you did mention
Yeah.
it, so,
yeah, they offer them quite often, and they're very helpful. So we'll get you up to speed, but it takes a
Okay.
little while.
thanks.
But if you have questions at any time, feel free to ask any of us, and specifically about the library budget and how we do things to stay certified and all of that.
Okay, thank
I can
you.
answer those, okay?
Thank you.
Oh, and I just want to say thank you to Charlene. I think I put it on my report.
Yes.
Charlene was a great trustee, and I wish her the best success, whatever she does in the future. I know we'll still see you at the library as a library patron. Out the window, maybe waving as you pick up your book. We'll
Yeah,
be talking.
I think I have to rent a truck to bring back all my materials.
Yeah, you know, we're ready to take your returns regardless of library, so just feel free to, we got to do it at some point. So now we're through the backlog, we're just taking everything, so.
Yes, yes. And I didn't want to swamp you, you know.
We appreciate it because not everyone followed our request.
Of course.
But, right.
They just see the word open and they
Yeah.
don't read the rest of it.
Yeah, we had some signage out there, which I just took down. I don't know if anybody read it anyway, so.
Yes.
But, yeah, and then I updated the website today to reflect that.
All right.
That's it. I'm done with that report.
I move to accept the director's report as submitted.
I second that. Jean Mitchell.
All right. A roll call vote to accept the director's report. I, Lynette Wheeler, accept. Linda Yates,
Except,
Jean Mitchell.
Accept.
All right. Approved unanimously. And we will move on to the financial report.
Okay. Well, again, this month, there was not much action. We didn't spend a lot of money. Just some necessary expenses. I'm not sure if Linda was aware, but the town was under a budget freeze, and we were only allowed to do essential spending.
okay.
And essential spending required that you fill out a form and the spending be approved before we could spend the money. But now that's been lifted for the time being, since we're into FY21. And town accountant also spoke lengthy this morning with a lot of what was going on at the end of FY20 and how they're proceeding in FY21 and what she needs from all the department heads. So that was always a long process. The end of the year, the town accountant, as you can imagine, things get a little crazy. And this year has been really tough on everyone. So, you know, we're all in it together. So we're just trying to work together and get through everything. So in terms of the financials, did you get the spreadsheet too, Linda?
Yes, I
can
did.
explain the spreadsheet to you a little bit, but every time we pay a bill, it's on a warrant. I don't know if you know anything about the town government, but that's the way it operates.
Do not.
So each month I do usually 2 or 3 warrants. We write out the bills on it. It gets submitted to the town accountant. And so the spreadsheet, there's a summary page. The top part has the wages, and the bottom part has all the expenses. And then each month is tabbed out below. And you can see, I recreate those warrants in the spreadsheet. So I do it all by hand because that's the town is still in the write things down phase. So we do have a lot of backup in terms of paperwork. The payrolls themselves get signed. We pay every other week. So we're in a bi-monthly system. And
Bob, do we need to sign some warrants now because Linda's a trustee?
I think we're good. I don't know. I don't want to bring that up. I know, because you guys just signed like 20 of them for me.
I know, are the ones that Charlene
And
signed.
I think that that's still, yeah, I think that they're still fine, but I will check on that.
Okay.
I will check on that.
And
yeah.
check on payroll, because I know the chair signed payroll.
Yes, we're gonna have to do another form. There is a form for that.
Okay,
And I will bring that up with June tomorrow. So we need to change Charlene to Lynette
yes,
for the signing, and there is a form that you'll have to do. And it has to be, we have to have the approved minutes of this meeting to do it, I think.
okay,
I think that's the way it worked the last time.
okay,
So it makes it difficult from a signage standpoint. So if we don't have that done and you're not allowed to sign it as a chairman, then 2 of the 3 current trustees have to sign it.
okay.
So I think it's just 2 of the 3, not all 3. Is that right, Charlene?
Yeah, that's what I seem to remember. We
Yeah.
had this weird little period.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
little overlap.
Yeah.
And it has to be signed in person?
It has to be signed, yes, in person. No, I mean,
Okay.
that was overridden because of COVID.
Right.
So Charlene has been, how do you do it on your end?
I type in my name and the date, and then I send it to June.
And that's your approval, okay.
That's my
Yeah.
approval. So actually, that was true pre-COVID, that I had to sign it in person. But yeah, I think so. The good news is, in theory, I think I don't know if there's something special Linda needs to do, but I don't know if there's. I mean, it's not like you're sending an electronic signature. It's not like I sent a facsimile of my signature.
Right.
I literally just, Bob would send me the file, I'd check, I'd look at the spreadsheet, and then I would type in my name and the date, and then I would forward it to June Poland, and I would CC Bob. So in this case, it might be a matter of one of you signing and then forwarding it to another of you to sign, and it could be
Yeah.
any 2, as far as I know. And then,
I'll talk this over with June tomorrow
Okay,
or in the next few days, and then I'll let you guys know the best way for us to
can
proceed.
we, if I did up the minutes and I sent them out tonight, could we have like a little mini meeting to approve the minutes?
Yes, I think that would be an excellent idea.
Because I can just type up the minutes tonight and I can email them out to all of you guys, and I don't know. Go ahead, Charlene.
there's one issue, open meeting law.
Yeah.
Okay,
So you have to
approve the
announce-
minutes.
You have to announce the meeting on My Town Government with an agenda 48 hours ahead. This is
So if I announce it tonight, we could say we have a meeting Friday or something.
but
When's
you'd
your next,
have to get a Zoom, and you'd have to get a Zoom.
right,
Yeah, that's with Mary.
Yeah. So you would want to, I mean, figure out amongst yourselves when you could do that, when, pick a 15-minute slot.
right,
But figure that out first, then contact Mary and Leanne, and see if they can get you a Zoom that quickly for that time. The town only has 2 Zoom accounts or something like that.
right.
So there's a theoretical chance that somebody else could already have that slot. Although 15 minutes, you sort of hope you could find something. But yeah, so you might not be able to get it all done this week, but probably next week.
When's the next pay period? Are you covered for the next check?
We have a payroll this week,
Thursday.
Thursday. So I think it's going to require that the two of you are
Okay,
signing.
Okay,
Okay?
That's
not a
fine.
problem.
And if that's the case, even if we can't get this done until the next trustees meeting.
Yeah, we could, I'm
That's
sure
just,
before the next trustee meeting, before your next pay period, I'm sure we can get a little
Okay.
15-minute
Yeah.
Zoom in. Linda, is there a day or time that works best for you to do a little 15-minute meeting?
Next week, next week.
Yeah, if I talk to
Um,
Mary and see if we can get one in someday next week. I'm pretty open.
The only day I really can't do it is Monday,
Okay,
afternoon. Like starting at noon on, I can't.
okay,
But I think the rest of the week, I think looks okay.
okay. We can,
I mean,
maybe before we
I
sign off.
prefer early morning if possible.
Yeah, before we
If
sign
that's
off, if we
possible.
can get Mary back in here, maybe we can squeak in a time. Do you have any conflicts next week, Jean?
No, I don't have anything going on until the 28th, so I'm good.
And Bob, is it good for you as long as you're at the library?
yeah, if you do it anytime,
Okay,
uh,
we'll see if we can get something in during library hours.
yeah,
Monday
if you
next week,
can.
closer to when you open. So
Okay.
it's still morning for you, Linda.
Okay, thanks.
So we'll ask Mary at the end before we sign off if we can get.
She's not on, Lynette. She left because I'm recording it, so we'll have to email
Oh,
her.
they can
Yeah,
come
she's
back.
not in the
Okay.
background.
Okay. All right. Do you want to email her, Jean, or do you want me
Sure.
to? All right. So you can email her and see if we can get something like either Friday or next week, because if we have to have that 48-hour window. So if she says
Yeah.
we could do it Friday at some point, then I could post it on my town government tomorrow, and that gives us the 48 hours. So to see if we can get anything between
All right.
Friday or one day next week to just approve these minutes.
All right, so do we want it for 9 a.m. either Friday or Monday?
Well, what time do you get to the library, Bob?
Usually about 10:30.
So like, see if we
All
can
right,
do
so say like
10:30.
11.
Yeah,
Yeah. Does that work, Linda? If we get 11 o'clock Friday?
Yeah.
Monday,
Oh, this Friday?
Friday. Yeah.
Oh, just a
either
second.
Friday
Sorry.
or Monday morning.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything on there now, so.
Okay. And
Yeah.
it'll
Friday
be
at
quick.
11.
It'll even be 15 minutes.
the library's actually closed on Fridays, but
Oh, that's right. Oh, let's try for Monday at 11 a.m. and
Monday.
see what she
Okay.
comes back with.
All right.
And
Is that going to give you time, Linda? I know you said you needed to be somewhere on Monday from noon on.
Yeah, what time did you say, 11?
11. It will
It would
probably
be 11
10
to
minutes.
11:15.
Yeah, that'd be okay.
Okay, so yeah, see if we can get Monday at 11 a.m. and maybe just put us all on that. Like send out the email, like CC all of us so that if she does reply, all
Absolutely.
we can all see it.
Okay,
That opens it up. Okay.
excellent.
All right.
Friday, 11 a.m. Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
And, I'll talk to June as well about the signage of the payroll and how to proceed.
Okay.
But probably I would think you would still be doing it via email.
Okay.
As far as I would know, I don't know for sure. In terms of the rest of the financials, I don't really have anything else. I'm beginning to set up the new spreadsheet for this fiscal year.
Okay.
So I am working on that currently. And I already talked about the special articles, the capital items that we would like to keep. And that's about it. We do think from talking with Margaret, the town administrator, that the septic the cost of it should be much less than what we have in the capital items. So we should be able to return a lot of that funding. That was kind of touch and go though, because over all the meetings we had, it was almost looking like with one of the plans, it wouldn't be enough. So
Right.
that was a lot. That was a long go to try to get the septic thing done. So I'll be happy to see them start the construction. It is requiring them to take a tree down in the back, but it's a pretty old and mostly dead tree, so it shouldn't do any harm.
Okay.
But that's about all I have for financials. In Linda's case, I mean, I can, like I said, go through the spreadsheet a little more closely with her since it's the first time she's seen it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for the financials? Charlene?
Not so much for the a question, just to say, when I was a new trustee, what we actually kind of created a position that was very helpful in getting me engaged with the financials, which was that I was the auditor. And it just meant that I took a close look at the financial spreadsheets and the details and stuff like that, and had some conversations with Bob. And we made some changes on that basis.
We
So-
have traditionally had someone on the trustees, anyone who had prior experience, obviously, with doing spreadsheets and financials. That could be someone that would just take a closer look, or because they have the knowledge, or they know what to look for. And the trustees have been helpful in that way. So if any of you feel that you have, if you have those kind of skills and you want to make recommendations or say, why are you doing things this way? Sometimes it's just, I mean, I just picked up a system that was here, and then it's just, the whole thing is just a work in progress. It's basically what, the bed's budget is pretty basic, but we keep track of a lot of things.
Excuse me.
And
Sorry.
a lot of those things are important for our state certification. So it's.
Well, I wish I had that area
Yeah.
of expertise, but I really don't. You don't want me making recommendations for your spreadsheets.
Well, like I
believe
said,
me.
it's not, it's more of a kind of sitting down with the thing and understanding, what's trying to be accomplished. I mean, I
Mhm.
think the spreadsheet, could use some improvements.
Right.
But I haven't really got there yet. A lot of the categories we use in the spreadsheet are for, items that, formats are changing, CDs, DVDs. So all those things are going to maybe go away, and we're going to create other categories that really show in a better way what we're spending the money on. But in any case.
I have a question, Bob. I know we had to get like tote bins and stuff to quarantine the books.
That's right.
Did that come out of our budget, or would that be considered something that the town would be responsible for?
Yeah, I think we bought some on our own because it was kind of something that we needed right away.
Yep.
And we just, they weren't that expensive. But
Okay.
You're right though. The town town probably should have provided them for us, but we took it from our own budget in this case. They did provide some plexiglass that if we ever get to the point where we're reopening, I mean, the plexiglass is in place now. It's on stands, and it may have to be tweaked as well. They provided all the cleaning materials.
Okay.
They provided gloves and masks, and all that sort of thing. But yeah, there are sometimes items, especially in a situation like this, where we wouldn't have needed those bins other than the fact that, we're in this
Yeah.
situation. And I had to
know
request essential spending in order to buy those. So I had to fill out even more paperwork than normal to spend, less than $100.
Yeah. All right. I just wanted to check because I know that the municipalities were given you know, halfway decent monies for
Yeah,
situations like this. So maybe going forward, we can find out if that would be something they would continue to finance.
right,
Because it's not a regular expense for us normally.
exactly. Yeah, I agree. Unless there's any other questions, I think that I am done with the financial report.
Where, are the bins on this report?
They would be on the warrants. I think
Okay.
we did pay for those last month,
Okay,
not June, but in May.
okay. All right. Anything else from anyone else on the financials?
I don't have anything
All right.
else.
I move to accept the financial report as submitted.
I second Jean Mitchell.
All right. Roll call vote. I, Lynette Wheeler, accept the report. Jean Mitchell,
Accept.
Linda Yates.
Accept.
All right, accepted unanimously. And old business, septic replacement, progress and next steps. Neshoba Valley Board of Health request for deadline extension of construction completion. Jean was it says who will be the point person for this? Did you get any information back from the emails?
No, because we were waiting to see if they were going to accept the plan. So now that they've accepted the plan, I can see what the timeline we're looking at is going to be to make sure we stay on track.
Okay,
And I'm going to be getting a hold of Margaret, and I'll CC everyone on that.
okay,
She did start the bid process. So this is something that is put out. There's something in the state called the Central Register, and all of the contractors can look for and bid on these jobs. So she is handling that. I don't know about the extension.
okay.
I don't have any information on that. The administrative consent order, I did talk with Margaret about that. She felt that there wouldn't be something that it would sign off on it and say, okay, it's done. It was more of just a document that's there because, you know, we'll always be in somewhat, you know, just by having the water tested, for example, we'll still be under some constraint, under some requirement, I should say. But she didn't expect that to happen. I know Charlene had asked me to contact her. She never replied to my email, but I caught her in the hall and we talked about it, as well as the septic bid process.
Okay.
Okay?
So do we wait for the bid to come back before we request the extension?
Yeah, as far as the extension goes, I don't know. I don't know where, I'm not sure where we are at in that process. I know that the Board of Health is aware, but I don't know if they've taken any steps.
All right. So Bob, do you want to ask Margaret maybe what we should do
Okay.
about, should we wait to ask for the deadline extension, and also with that, the sunset clause?
Yeah, I looked into that. She didn't feel that we were going to have an issue, but I don't mind drafting one just so we have it just in case.
Okay. So we'll have, just Bob, if you talk to Margaret about maybe if we wait to find out if we need to wait to ask for the extension. Once if it's already put out to bid, like if it's put out to bid and it comes back and they're going to start,
Right.
maybe we don't need to apply for the extension.
Exactly.
She didn't feel that we needed to, but
That's what she sounded like the last time I spoke with her about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
Okay.
it was similar with the sunset clause. She feels that it'll definitely be done in time, but I don't mind doing one just in case if,
Right.
that makes people feel better. I don't mind doing it.
All right.
okay. So FY21 budget proposed cuts, changes, updates.
Yeah, I believe we talked about it the last meeting, so. So we did have some cuts to the budget. It wound up being about $1,500 to our total wages and about $2,400 reduction to our expenses. And that was it. So when I do the financial report to the state, I'm still, Margaret assured me that these cuts were not disproportionate to other town departments. And that's important for our state certification. It's a way that the state has worked to keep library funding as it should be. We're 1.5% of the town's total budget. But she assured me that we weren't cut disproportionate, and that'll be important if we do need to provide for a waiver.
Okay.
And that would mean that our appropriation wasn't adequate. But it's going to be a very fine line. So, but if we apply for the waiver, it's tough to get in the situation, and I think there'll be a lot of communities in this situation. I hope there isn't, but once you go there, then it's very hard to get your appropriation back where it needs to be. So you can be applying for the waiver for a while. Anyway, I'm looking forward to working on that. I am a bit apprehensive about it, but this is what we need. This is what we have to work with these state anticipated shortfalls from the state.
So, you kind of went over in the director's report, the reopening update. Is there much still that's outstanding?
We're finding out now because we just kind of put the word out that we're taking items from all libraries.
Okay.
And we just started today. It was our very first day to start putting holds on items from other libraries and vice versa. And there are still some libraries that are not filling holds, but it's become very few. So
Are you having people call you to get the hold, or can you just?
They can call us, they can email us, they can place the holds on their own. So they have options, and we try to point those all out to them. Some people are just more comfortable just calling us.
Right.
And that's fine.
Okay.
As far, do you want me to go through some of these? I get.
Yeah, sure.
As far as my end of it goes, the Rockwell Apartments, I didn't get to. They didn't. Our department head reports this morning were kind of abbreviated, so I haven't gotten any word about what the standing is on the Rockwell Apartments.
Okay.
But we should keep that on our horizon because that's a lot of potentially new patrons. And while we're talking about that, I'm sure you've seen on Highland Street, they broke ground. Yes,
Yes.
when they broke ground, they really broke ground.
They smashed ground.
They smashed ground.
smashed
I
ground.
don't know how many, so that, obviously there are neighbors right up the street from the library, so we could be
Yeah.
getting a lot of business
That's
there,
gonna be over 55.
over 55.
Yeah.
How many units do you know?
A lot.
Many
I-
units.
I did know.
So there's quite a few developments. There's one on West Street that's just started. So we definitely have to keep that on the horizon, all this potential. Usually I hear more about it at the department head meeting, but they had so many other things to cover. So,
Yeah. It's a big space. If you haven't come up the hill in a
Yeah.
while, if
it's,
you've ever been up Highland Street and you haven't in a while, it's an almost eyesore.
it's shocking.
It
It's
is.
shocking.
It is.
It looks
It
like they
is.
built a super highway right through the woods.
The wildlife in my yard now it's always been big because we're a farm and we have animals and that attracts other animals, but now so many more like possums, deer. Like we would see deer like dawn and dusk, that's it, but we're seeing them all times of the day now.
Yeah.
The coyote activity is
Oh, off the hook.
Yeah, yeah.
they definitely, and like bunnies.
Yeah.
We've always had the stray bunny here and there are like dozens now.
All of that wooded area is where a lot of the community went walking unofficially,
Yes, there
Yeah.
were trails that people walked on. I know, like I'm sure Pam Dona comes down to the library a lot, and
Yes. Yeah.
she's very upset by it
Yeah.
all. And
Yeah, the police chief did mention some neighbors of the development were calling in.
yeah, but it was voted on, so
Right. It was.
what are
Yeah.
you gonna do? You
Well, I think
can't
they just had
show up
problems. There were so many trucks. It seemed like there were 10 large trucks up there at any given time, bulldozers,
excavators. Yes,
excavators.
there's a
And
lot.
so when he came down the street, all of a sudden, it got to be, it was a little crazy for a while.
So in terms of Rockwell, what do we, and Highland Street for that matter, do we want to get some kind of sign or flyers
Yeah,
for,
I think once they're, kind of a going concern, maybe if they have a community, a lot of these places, have a community's gathering place in their own complex.
yeah,
We could offer to do something, maybe get library cards for people.
right, especially where here on Highland Street with the over 55, and I don't know if it'd be worth it to do on Pleasant Street too at Northbrook,
Right.
offer to do like a library card sign up day or
Yeah.
something.
Hang on
Yeah.
1 second. Charlene's raising her hand. Go ahead, Charlene.
I didn't see it.
I just raised it.
I did.
Yeah, so clearly Highland's not going to be happening for a while, at least, I assume, in terms of having actual new residents. Rockwell seems like they might be having move-ins. It's a little hard to tell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got shut down for a small period of time for some violations.
Oh, really?
Yes. They weren't like COVID violations. They weren't
Yeah.
wearing the right PPE, and like there was some injuries that weren't treated properly. Minor injuries,
Are
but
they workers or the
yes,
Yeah.
the workers. So they like everything halted. I think they had to halt for like 3 weeks. So I think whatever date they had has been pushed back. They are obviously resumed construction, but there was a little pause in things going on over there.
I know that the building inspector's been very busy over there.
Yes.
Yeah. So you'll probably find out more at the next department heads, but just, I
Right.
checked the website, I found they had the library listed as an amenity. And so I was like, oh, this seems to be progress. And their unit map now has like some units colored and some not, which I assume means, I don't know which
Availability?
works.
Yeah,
But-
probably rented and still open.
Right. I just couldn't tell which were which. Yeah, and I was also thinking that while the weather is good, maybe in September or something like that, even if indoor spaces are still not really viable, that maybe something outdoors to be done, like maybe invite people to the garden of the library to get a little orientation, and maybe you could figure out a way to do, to sort of say, I don't want to make more work for you than you already have, Bob.
No, this is
Yeah.
good.
Just like
It's good.
to get people
Yeah.
to sign up for cards.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can do an ice cream social. Balance Rock Farm will donate ice cream.
Oh, I'm in.
We
How
typically
could you
donate.
possibly refuse that invitation? I mean, the minute she said ice cream, she had me right there.
Well, we donate the ice cream every year. At the end of summer reading, we always have an ice cream party, and Sarah gives out the prizes and stuff, and we always donate ice cream for that. Summer reading is next on our new business. We
Well,
can
the
touch on.
library garden area is a little bit under construction because our cabana got completely knocked down last year, so it hasn't been rebuilt yet.
We could maybe do something joint with 19 Carter.
Right.
Yeah,
Get
that'd
people
probably be good.
interested into the both.
Maybe
buildings.
possibly the septic work will be starting,
Right.
Exactly.
so it'll be a construction zone back there for a while.
Yeah, I think Lynette's got a good point to do it with 19 Carter.
Yeah.
So, what's going on with summer reading? Do you have any?
Well, it's been very challenging. I know that Sarah is trying to work much more closely with Berlin Memorial.
Mhm.
And I actually asked her today to update just a rundown on the website of the
Yeah.
summer reading. So she's going to send me something tomorrow. Actually, I'm going to do the update, but we still had the 2019 information up there. But everything, she put a lot of work in, and almost everything she planned has been not able to happen. So it's really a lot of scrambling. And
EMS was behind the 8 ball too. I don't even think I've gotten
Yeah.
the summer reading list for the kids yet. I got
yeah,
to
they just had a very general recommendations, and
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not even sure what's gonna happen.
yeah, it hasn't been as big. Obviously, it's usually a big priority, and now, yeah, too many other things to worry about. And some of our other programming, I've been trying to reschedule the painter who comes in and brings all the materials, Greg Mychek. He does watercolor, like Georgia O'Keeffe stuff. He's been here before a couple of times.
Mm,
And he wanted to do a remote one, and it just seemed logistically, I have to get the materials here, and then
Right.
I just didn't know if I could get, and then the people would have to be in some kind of place to get, I don't know. It just seemed like
It's a
maybe that
lot.
wouldn't work. Yeah. So I feel bad, but because some of the grants are going to be, they're not going to be paid out because the state requires that they do them within the fiscal year. I was hoping they would extend that. It seems fair. I mean, everything else has been canceled, so, but we'll just have to see what develops. I know they hired a new person to look after the 1870 bookings.
Yeah.
Her name is Lindsay.
Yeah, I got that. I got an email from her.
And they
Lisa?
hired a separate person to do the Council on Aging, Victoria, and she just started. So they are, I mean, groups of 25 with the distancing are allowable under the standards. So she is trying to book some things for the 1870, and that's normally what we use for our library programs. We'll just have to see how things develop, and hopefully we can get some programming in this summer, especially while the weather is good. We can do things outside.
to say fall and winter events because we don't know
Right.
really how
Yeah.
things are going. Do we have things we typically do, like annually? Like a,
Yeah,
You know,
you
like
know,
we
there's the
usually have the
usual
books.
apple picking and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, I think those are the types of things we may be able to do. Anything outside, it might be a possibility. We usually go to the farm during the summer reading as well. Blueberry picking or something like that. But again, it's very hard to plan anything right now.
Right.
Most of the farms are requiring you to make a reservation to do pick your own. That
Oh,
seems,
okay.
that was in the, they just released the Massachusetts COVID regulations for agritourism. And that was one of the things that they want people to schedule an appointment to pick.
Yeah. Yeah, normally the kids run like a hayride type thing, and I think that's out. So
Yeah,
we have to redesign almost everything we do.
yeah, the hay wagon is only allowed to take you from the parking lot to the front door of the facility. That's it. No,
Okay.
no scenic hay wagon rides, no
Right.
out to picking, just the car to the door, and that's that.
Right. Yeah, every
Take
single thing that
sanitized straw.
Sarah and I have gone back and forth, and everything that we come up with has a new twist or some potential problem. So it's very discouraging, but we just keep doing what we can do.
Yep.
If it's under the category of fun, we can't do it.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
That's just how it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But it'll get better. And there have been some inventive things that people have been trying. So.
I believe Mary just responded about the meeting. She said Monday would be
No, that was
better.
me. That was
Oh.
me. I responded because we had decided Monday was the day that worked because Friday the
Oh, okay.
library's closed.
That's
Bob's
right.
not at
I
the
totally
library.
forgot about that.
So that was me bumping into that.
Oh, no worries.
And speaking of email, real quick too, Linda, I ended up creating a Gmail that is just for the trustees because they can look at your email. Charlene knows the better wording. She suggested it when we all signed on, so I did it because then you're not required, because like open meeting law, when we have an email conversation, they're allowed to see them, and that means they can see whatever's in your box. Charlene's raising her hand, so I'm going to let her explain it better than me.
Yeah, so Linda, did you have the open meeting law training yet?
I had ethics training.
Ethics training. Okay, so that's one. The other training to get is the open meeting law training.
Okay.
It's restrictive, and it's very restrictive for small boards like the library trustees. So actually, communicating, given that anytime there's a quorum, the meeting has to be announced 48 hours ahead of time with an agenda. The public has to be able to attend. That means you can't really email each other and discuss substantive issues outside of an announced meeting. So emails are about things like scheduling the meeting, sending out, Bob can send out anything because he's not a trustee board member.
Mm-hmm.
But any two of you or all three of you have to be very careful about what you write in your emails to each other. And we have been very careful. Because yes, what Lynette was saying is correct, is it's a good idea to create an email just for your library trustee business. Because any correspondence, whether it's to other trustees or just on library trustee business, like if you're emailing Mary for a Zoom or the select board to find out about construction or whatever it is, all of that is public record. So it's a heck of a lot easier if you just have a separate, and I had a separate email account, charlenetrustee@gmail.com. to just, segregate all those emails. It shouldn't be part of your private account. And it's important to remember, don't delete anything. Those that, I get a lot of stuff that's not really important or relevant, but like once it lands in that account, I try to remind myself, don't delete it. It's public.
Anything like even not like junk mail and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gmail's pretty good about junk mail.
I don't have a Gmail account, so I don't know.
You could set one up.
anything about it.
You can do Gmail or Yahoo, any of the free emails. Yahoo is not as good at filtering out the junk, but I created a Gmail account for my trustees. I have not ever once in this year gotten any piece of junk mail, spam mail, nothing.
Okay.
So, and it's literally my inbox is only trustee stuff. It's the my town government announcements. It's little things that we've talked about, me sending out the minutes, Bob sending the director's report, that kind of thing. And as soon as you do that, also let Eloise know. Did you sign up for my town government?
Not yet.
Okay, so when you sign up for my town government, sign up with the new Gmail, and then you don't have to tell Eloise anything.
Oh, okay.
Once you sign it up, you'll put in that email address, and then Eloise will go in and assign you that you're the clerk so that you can post minutes. And that's fairly easy too. That's something we can go over with you, how to post minutes.
Okay. Okay.
Right. And we sort of have, when in doubt, contact Bob.
Yeah.
And say, what's going on with X, Y, and Z thing, if you need to know something.
I try to, anything that I know that you haven't been copied on that's relevant to trustees' concerns, then I usually just forward that.
Yeah, so once you create that Gmail account, you can just send an email to me, Jean, and Bob saying, this is my trustee email, and then we'll save that so we know that that's the one to email you with.
Okay.
Yeah, and another great use for that account is then to sign up for the Massachusetts Library Trustees listserv. They send out a lot of information, kind of like both sort of current news things, but also training things. So it's kind of little bits of like digestible bits of information on things that library trustees deal with, like personnel issues. We, one of our responsibilities is we are the hiring and supervising people for the library director. So they put out a little email of, this week's topic is, how to think about hiring a library director, things you need to know. And
I will forward things to you, Linda, until you have a chance to get on the listserv.
Okay, thanks.
And then when you're on there, just let me know.
And it's hard to get on the listserv because I've emailed this woman countless times this year and I'm still not on it.
Yeah.
Like Charlene has forwarded me stuff. And the woman responds. Like I sent her an email, said, I'm a new trustee. Can you add me to the list? She said, congratulations, I'll add you. I still wasn't getting, Charlene's like, did you see this? I'm like, no. I emailed the woman again. And then I think Charlene emailed her too.
Yeah, I think maybe you could, I forget how I got on. I might have gone directly to their website and signed up through that. God knows what the problem is for Lynette. She's just had a hard time.
Yeah, no, if you have a link to their website, because all I have is that woman's email. If you have a link to their website.
Let me see. I must have something.
You're on the listserv now though, right, Lynette?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, usually if there's something that's I think is important,
Yeah,
then
you forward stuff.
I just forward it just in case you didn't see it.
And that and Linda, the open meeting law training is virtual. It's videos you watch on the computer. So you can do it on your own time, kind of thing.
Okay.
Trying to go through my inbox to see if I could find the link for that, and I haven't found it yet.
I have a link for the virtual trustee orientations, although I don't think there's any coming up. I think the last one was mid-June, but let me forward this one. Blah, blah, blah. I will forward it to all three of you. Linda. Okay. So I am forwarding this. Now, just the fact that I'm forwarding this is me sharing what is in essence is sharing a document with you now. Best practice would be to copy this email and save it as a PDF or something and post that as this is a document we looked at during this meeting. So that is, that is part of the public record now, is that virtual trustee orientation is the subject line of this email I just sent. And I'm going to try and see, and that's the trustees announce list. And I think there might be a separate one that's where the trustees can actually discuss things with each other. And that's the one I'm talking about getting you signed up for, but I am checking that. I could be wrong. It could all be trustees announced.
So, Linda, do you have a pen handy? Perfect.
I've been taking notes.
If you write, this is the website for the videos, is mass.gov /service -details /open -meeting -law -training -videos.
Okay.
So it should be the mass.gov website. Okay. And it's gonna look like, I don't know, it's hard to show a computer to a computer, but can you kind of
That's
see
okay.
it?
That's okay. I'll be able to find it, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's mass.gov website, and it's open meeting law training videos. And there are 6 videos to watch.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, they're only a few minutes each. They're like 5 to 10 minutes or something. And like you know, you can watch one time and whatever. Whatever time. But they're not long.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do we have another meeting starting tonight at 7? Are we gonna get bumped right out at 7?
Yeah, I think there probably is another one. I don't think we can go over.
Bob,
How much more do we have to?
we're state advocacy, library construction bond fund. Senator,
I haven't seen any recent news on that.
okay. You kind of went over the Friends update during the director's report.
Yes.
Jean, what about the MVB training?
It wasn't like really like a training so much. They were doing brainstorming and stuff. I missed a bunch of it due to a medical issue. I'm going to be reaching out to Mary because I know the doodle boards and stuff were all active, so I can get all that information for our next trustee meeting. Not the one for 15 minutes, but normal meeting.
Okay.
Because it did go over, it was 3 days worth of stuff, so.
Right. And then we did the transition is basically, we've transitioned, right? And elections has happened. That was at the beginning. Open meeting law, new June 2020 guidance from Attorney General RE, in-person meetings, ADA accessibility. There's a link that we should all probably check. I didn't see that when I was looking at it before. What is this? Is that just something that's at the bottom of the agenda? What, Charlene, do you know what it's just new guidelines to look at?
Okay, so the bottom of the agenda, transition tests, we did all that. So the open meeting law, June 2020 guidance from the Attorney General. Yes, let me mention this if you have not seen it.
Open meeting law webinar trainings.
Well, that's all good. The thing is that the Attorney General is saying now that boards could arrange to meet in person if they did certain things. At the same time, boards are still permitted to do Zoom for the time being.
Okay.
Given our resources or lack thereof, I mean, in theory, what it means is you could do an in-person meeting. Some people could still be remote, but there's still that requirement that the public has to be able to attend. So
That kind of puts you in a situation because you can't have a certain number of people show up.
right.
Not that anyone has ever shown up to our meeting.
Right. I mean, we've never had somebody we didn't know in advance was going to come, I think, except for our first Zoom, actually.
Yeah, and that was so weird.
Yeah. I mean, it was great. I'm glad he came. But yeah, it's very tricky guidance. I wanted to make you aware of it in case you've seen it. But my sense is as long as you can meet by Zoom, meet by Zoom. It's if the town decides to change something that you want to know that might be because of this guidance.
Okay.
So, yeah, it
I'll
just,
read that after, yeah.
yeah. Cause then the question is, where would you do it in a place where you'd be sure, it's ADA accessible, you could accommodate people, as many people as you think might come. 1870, you probably could do it, in the big hall, but, I guess Bob would probably hear things at the department heads meeting, or might hear things, or he might hear something from Margaret about it.
Yes.
So, or you could always, one of you could ask Margaret about it and, any thoughts about that. But yeah, so it's more in the way of saying guidance is changing. It might continue to change. Be aware.
Okay.
It looks like we got about 4 minutes.
4 minutes, yeah. I think we're good. Does anybody have anything else? No?
Nope.
I will move to adjourn the meeting.
I will second the adjournment, Jean Mitchell. All in favor?
So, Lynette Wheeler, I am in favor. Linda, are you in favor of adjournment?
Yes.
Jean Mitchell?
Yes.
All right, we are adjourning at 6:57 p.m.